So basically, let me share my screen, dude. Where is the? Oh, just let me move the code over. All right, so let's just. This is actually old because I've been working upstairs. Um, okay, so now I'm fresh on main. So there's a lot of there's a lot of changes, dude. So there's kind of like I've been kind of doing a lot of architecture work, like for the architecture of the design of this code, this the Jack Lang. So there's some kind of big decisions that were recently that I kind of made and acted upon after a lot of thought. So one of the decisions was whether or not we should make this Jack Lang repo cleanly just a compiler, or whether we should let this repo be both the compiler and the analytics engine. And so I ended up deciding, static analysis, dynamic analysis of code is actually uh, is actually a set of kind of tooling and infrastructure that goes hand in hand with writing compilers. It's kind of the same stuff. You build the same intermediate representations. So the first decision was to let Jack Lang, the Jack Lang Python library, be both the compilation engine and the analytics engine. This is, this makes sense to me because those things need to be the same as the language evolves, right? Those can't be separate. Now, so that meant that I would end up vendoring. One of the requirements of the Jack Lang repo is that it shouldn't have third-party dependencies, right? So, so ultimately, I ended up vendoring one more project. So we actually have a number of projects vendored, like Lark, MyPy, and Pluggy. Those were vendored, right? Part of it. So we need to vendor PyGLS. And so I did some research, made sure PyGLS was reasonable and it didn't have much third-party dependencies. It has LS protocol and adders and this kind of type information, C attributes and attributes, right? So those are vendored into the project now. So the project could be a self-contained language server as well as a compiler. And the way you start it in language server mode is with that Jack LSP command. Now, here's what's super exciting. What's super exciting is you can update like all of the features that we want in terms of the VS Code extension experience without having to do anything in TypeScript. So we could actually we can publish because of extension, right now extension.ts simply runs Jack LSP from your local environment. So for the extension to work, the only assumption is that you have Jack installed. And if you have Jack installed, you're going to have the Jack LSP, right? Which is an instantiation of server, this language service provider, which is built in now to the Jack Lang core engine. So that's pretty cool, right? So as we add features, all you have to do is a pip upgrade and your VS Code extension experience is upgraded automatically. That also means, which is awesome, which we don't have to touch or publish a new VS Code extension. The VS Code extension is just a really thin, configuration on VS Code to say, just talk to the local Jack, right? Just talk to the local Jack to figure out what to do. So that's nice because we can be updating and upgrading the analytics experience in your VS Code extension without having to maintain two things, right? It also means that we can co-design the analytics engine with the compilation engine. Those can be co-designed, synced, and tested together. So we should never have a situation that we're out of sync. So that's really nice too. So those are kind of the big, yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. This is, I mean, yeah, this is very good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And so, so I think this is kind of the setup from a like packaging strategy or where code lives strategy. Now, there's a couple things I want to. Okay, so I implemented. So you saw this did change, right?
Yeah.
So this did change, and let me just install the. So did change basically just runs the parser. So it has a schedule with no passes. It runs the parser. So it checks for static code errors. So static errors, right?
Syntax. Yeah.
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 And so let me just install the VS Code extension real quick. What do I need to do? CD support, and then VS Code, and then Jack, and then VSCE package. Yep, package. Run the compiler. There's errors. That's interesting. npm install. Is that gonna make that go away? Because there shouldn't be errors.
Yeah.
Why is there errors? Oh yeah, that's probably because of the npm install. And now it's good. It's kind of inefficient, but that's okay for now. Now I'm gonna copy the VS Code extension to here so I can just locally install it here. Install Visix. Um, let's see. Install Visix. Let's get to the VS Code extension. And it's installing. Let's reload it. Cool. So it's reloaded. So what's nice about this, and I'll just do a quick demo of kind of why this is cool. So if I open a Jack file, let's see, guest game 1.jack, the Jack Lang server is started, right? So it's just
Yeah.
super nice and like it's auto formatting and stuff. So if I do this
Formatting.
and
Yeah.
but it also will also
Syntax.
show like syntax errors and stuff like built in,
Oh,
right?
it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
No, but here's what's really cool, right? So what's really cool is if I make a change to server.py, like what change should we make? Like
But
if
it will not be.
it yeah, go ahead.
Will it be updated in the
Yeah,
extension also?
exactly. Well, the extension is just talking to all these. Yeah, so let me show you. I'm trying to find a good thing. Okay, let's do just a log error. Um, I'll just do a log error in the main loop, and it'll just say I'm dynamically updated, whatever, right? So we can do that. I deleted MyPy, so it's trying to do MyPy, but let me just
Yeah.
pip install MyPy real quick. MyPy. All right. So that'll make that silly thing go away. But basically, so I just updated this. If I do
Yeah.
control, if I just do reload the window, when I reload the window, it's actually going to now have different behavior. So now it's like I'm dynamically updated,
Ah.
right? So as you edit,
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, as you edit, because the entire VS Code experience is now driven by the language server provider that's built into Jacklang. You don't have to touch the TypeScript, the VS Code stuff, and you could just hack away, right? Okay, now, all right. So there's that. So that's one topic, right? So that's kind of like the design of like the workflow and the approach that we're taking with the VS Code extension. Now, the cool thing about this language server provider too, and baking it into the stack is we can support like anything that supports the language server protocol works, right? So when it comes to Sublime and Atom and all the other editors, all the other editors will only ever need that little thin reference to Jack LSP, and then they're gonna have full support of the VS Code analytics and whatnot, right? Of the language server LSP
Yeah.
analytics. So it's a really good scalable approach for those reasons. All right. So okay, so that's one. Now two. On to what you were asking about. So so there's the what was it? You were talking about, well, we're gonna have to do like we'll have to get deep symbol information for most of the features in the prior VS Code extension, right? So like when it comes to the hover stuff, right? Like this hover is what you were looking at from the prior.
Yeah, or anything, however,
Yeah,
yeah, or definition or
yeah,
implementation.
exactly. There's many of them, right? And we can make it. So there's different levels of. Let me see. Let me just what am I trying to do here? Lock group, close others, and then I can control click, and basically you need this get all symbols stuff, right?
Yes.
So there's this. Oh, I was looking at it previously. Where was it? It's like posts. Yeah, get scope at position. There's get symbol at position, right? Like there's this function.
Yes.
So I wanted to show you this function because this is going to be an important tool that we can use.
Yeah.
Basically, mapping this kind of param. Where is it? Um, where is it? It's like pose. Pose comes from here. So let's look at a call. A call to here. Is there one in here? No, there's only one
Yeah,
there.
this is more.
Let me just search for one, just to find a good example of a call to it. Uh, like here is a good call. This params that position. I think this is going to be one of the key parameters that you use to look up
Yeah.
like tokens throughout the file, right? And so
Yes.
I think understanding this position object and how to map it to symbols, I think this might be an inefficient mapping. There might be some things we might want to do to make it more efficient. But I think that tool is going to be one of the key ways that you kind of connect the the IR data structures in Jacklang to the language of, you know, the VS Code, the language service provider types, right? The LSP types,
Yeah.
I'll call them. So, all right. Now, from an architecture standpoint, here's how I think we should go. I think we should have multiple levels of analysis, right? So you'll, and which includes a super deep one. Now, the super deep analysis is going to be complicated. Like, it's going to have an interesting roadmap, but it's going to be a lot of fun to build. We'll build it together. It's going to be a lot of fun to build, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a interesting, and it'll be a very interesting roadmap. Now, we have this, where is it? Workspace. Remember Workspace? So we have this
Yeah.
Workspace module. Ultimately, I think that this should be moved into the langserve
Yeah.
directory now, right? And I think there's going to be this engine. The Workspace will ultimately become an analysis engine for the current workspace, and now it'll be, and there's a workspace in Jacklang. Maybe we should do some changes on the name. Like maybe we should call it Jack Workspace versus LSP Workspace, because there's two types of workspace. So for clarity, we'll probably need to separate those two types. But I believe that the way workspaces should work is when you do code in a directory, when you open a folder, it's kind of like VS Code's workspace. Like when you do like code in a particular directory, you open with an assumption that that's like your workspace. We're gonna have to create. We're gonna have to create analytics information that's relevant to that workspace, because we have this impulse stuff where symbols can be linked across documents
Yes.
in a way that's separate from Python. We're going to need to manage our table of IR in clever ways, right? So, for instance, like we may have like simply a class of IR that's really just the file. So like the syntax of the file where you don't do the import pass. Basically, there may be some class of analytics that, let me just use paint. All right, so like, and I'm kind of thinking about some of this stuff on the fly, but so you have your source file, right? This is really small. So you have your source file, right? Your Jack source file, and then you may have other source files, right, that they depend on.
Yeah.
So as you go through the layers of passes, I'll just use a line to represent each pass. So you have all these
Yeah.
passes, right? All of these kind of various versions of the IR. And so
Yeah.
like in this one, you have like separate ASTs, right? But then
Yeah.
after import pass, you're actually still fine because it's like still well formed ASTs, right?
Yeah.
But they're just linked. Let me just do it like this. I'm just drawing it out. Let's do another one here. These are for the three files, right? So you kind of
Yeah.
have these like separate ASTs that are self-contained, and
Yeah.
then that's the first like parser and AST creator, and then you have a pass that'll link them
Yeah.
basically,
Important thing.
but they're still kind of pretty coherent. But then you'll have these passes that'll move things around, right? Where like
Yeah.
all of a sudden you might have things move up, you know, and maybe some things are still relatively self-contained. So you might have something that looks like this now, and then like this, but there's still a link, you know. So you have like
Yeah.
these passes that changes like the what the IR looks like, and I honestly believe we're gonna have to come up. We're gonna have to really work through clever ways long term. We'll have to work through clever ways that when you change something here, you don't have to start at the beginning, right? Like let's say you change some code here, you don't want to necessarily start at the beginning and rebuild everything from scratch, right? So
Yeah.
you might want to just start at a particular location and just do what you need. There's going to be some interesting stuff related to that. However, I envision this workspace class evolving to be you know, it builds the whole workspace, right? So like this, if you look at this class, we already have some pieces, right? We have the idea of a module info, which
Yeah.
has a set of errors, a set of warnings. Um, this is the symbol table. This gives you a list of symbol tables. It turns it into a
Yeah.
list. And then in workspace, we have like the modules. All of the modules of your workspace is a dictionary of module infos, right? Which is
Yeah.
the IR for that module, and then the string with the path of the module.
Yeah.
So this rebuild will rebuild it from scratch, right? We have a
Yeah.
table, and then add file, so forth. So what I think should happen, right? If you look at say did change,
Yeah.
what did change should do, because when you come into did change, and maybe I'll have you make a PR for this, right? This will be a small project just to kind of get our engine going. So maybe you could work on this as PR. But did change right now just does its work outside of using this workspace object.
Yeah.
However, what I'm thinking is the this shallow kind of translation or an analytics on the file should probably be managed by workspace. So essentially what should happen is this document gets the document from the URI that's in VSCode, and then we use
Yeah.
document.source. Essentially, the
Yeah.
flow should be something like did change is triggered, we grab the document, we call workspace, and then it could be, you know, we would call this like parse, reparse, or parse for. I mean, this is a tier, so you can say parse single file, right? Parse single file, and then it can return like result, right? But there should be a sync of truth between what happens. It almost should be referring to workspace to do the workhorse stuff, for the analytics. Um, so this would be a really small little PR, but what would be more kind of important would be like this would be a PR that this is a feature that probably better articulates what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So so basically once you come in here and you get the document and you have the document source,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
modifies the source. So we should actually update workspace as ground truth, right? Because we have the IR here for the module info. Once we format it, module info also has the source for each module. It also has the original source. So it's almost like we can keep the information here. And the reason why we need to kind of keep the, like this kind of process should be a function a method of workspace, you know? So it'd be workspace format text, right? Instead of we just format the text here. Because later, for some of the symbol
Yeah.
stuff, we might want to make decisions of when we'll actually do various sequences of analyses on single files or multi files, etc. So essentially, what I'm proposing is we merge this in to kind of be an analytics engine, right? That this just makes
Yeah.
calls to, right? And so the first PR would be moving this file workspace into the server, and then for just these two features, it should be a small one. It's
Yeah.
interacting as much. It's doing the work as much in here in workspace, and then workspace is kind of being referred to all the time. So
Yeah.
essentially,
And
yeah. Go
workspace.
ahead. No. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does the workspace is used for other enemy? I mean, for
Mm-mm.
normal
Mm-mm.
running
The
only for the VS Code.
Yeah, workspace was created to be that
Okay.
for VS Code, right? So
Okay.
really, it should be kind of
Okay.
merged in.
Yeah.
And so I think
Yeah.
honestly,
Yes, sir.
what happens is you might have like a workspace here, and it probably collects something off of server like direct path or something. I don't know, right? So let's see. This takes a path, and then these are optional parameters. So I envision you might have something like server, lang server, and then workspace. I don't know where you trigger it. So Chandra triggers it on did open, right? So maybe it's in a did open, right? Dot 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 did open. Def dot 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 def did open. Like here,
Yeah.
maybe you build the workspace, like workspace equals whatever path, because this is like some file, right? It takes in some
Yeah.
some file or something. So I think you initialize workspace here, and then it can be updated with did open, but then you can just access it. You just access. Well, we'll have to change the name. Maybe we change the name to Jack and Jack Analyzer. Maybe he's Jack Analyzer. So maybe it'll be uh, Analyzer. I don't know if that's the right name. It's not just analyzing. It's Jack Watcher. I don't know. You could come up with a name. You could go with Jack Analyzer for now. We could change it.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Just so we don't have the name collision.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, so this is kind of what I'm thinking, and then this stuff would move into here, and it might already be here, but we should probably call it something, right? Like this is syntax only parse, right, or
Yeah.
something in here, and then you just call it'd just be one straight call, syntax only parse the document, and then this stuff probably stays. I'm thinking live like how this should be built, right? I'm wondering if this should also. Yeah, I mean,
This is
why not,
LSP
right?
visual.
Yeah, this maybe should import the LSP stuff. So maybe most of like the creation of this object or whatever could be over here, right? So basically, it's kind of like merging these two
Yeah.
things, and then same here, and then it could return. Maybe it returns this. I don't know. I don't know. But you can kind of like make a call, and then we'll just go from there.
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Um,
And yeah, I mean the workspace classes basically it will be an I mean we will have a base I mean workspace I mean now jack analyzer object in here when we did change. Okay, I'll share it. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
We will have a multiple object or only one object, isn't for one instance?
I think it would have one object for one instance.
Yeah. I
Because
got it, got it,
we
got it.
really only have one server, and the server only has one workspace. But the analyzer really is a
Yeah,
part of workspace. It should kind of be linked to the workspace.
yeah, got it, got it.
You know, um, another thing you could do is you can actually make it. No, I think it'll be good to. Yeah, we could do it this way. Um, no, actually, one thing you can do is you can create these classes here, but you might be able to subset this. Like you could subset this and create and add a Jack Analyzer field to it, right? That's another kind of approach from a design standpoint. But maybe that's for later. But you know what I mean? It's like you can just create a base class of language server. So it's almost like
Okay, okay.
it would be called like Jack language class, Jack language server, and then basically it would just you know whoa, no, let's just do def in it, and then
Yeah,
this. Oh, it could be like analyzer. This is another way maybe.
yeah. This is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, something like that. Jack
Yeah,
analyzer or something. So this is another kind of way, and then you could just call it right off of ls, and then
yeah,
it's gonna stay at least one to one parity with workspace. So this is another kind of implementation idea, but this kind of plumbing work, I think, is a really good PR for you. At the same time, I'm gonna work
yeah,
on. I've been thinking a lot about the debounce and parallelism because in Jack Analyzer, or yeah, I guess we're calling it Jack Analyzer now. In Jack Analyzer, uh, it might be smart. We're gonna have a lot of async, right? So a lot of async is gonna be introduced into the process, and we may do async with multi-process to create other threads. So essentially, the
yeah,
VS Code extension can handle multiple requests at the same time, right? So it's like
yeah,
it's formatting that file in a thread, and it's still listening to see if it should type check this other file, right? So we
yeah.
should have that work. So so I'm thinking about that architecture, and I think Jack it's going to be integrated into Jack Analyzer, right? Or at least somehow I still need to think about what that interface looks like, so it's simple and clean and understandable. But anyway, yeah, man. So that's the update that I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Got it.
also, if you wanted to start with Hover, Hover is buildable actually. Like, when I looked at it, I see that Hover is relatively simple, right? Because what he's actually doing in Hover primarily, when he gets the symbol, where is it? This is the no. That where's the Hover? Like when he gets the symbol, extract doc symbols. Um, where was this? I remember I saw it. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. Geez, hover. All symbols is those log to output symbols. Oh, get hover info. This one. Yeah. So
Yeah, this is
basically,
returning the
he's just getting like,
returning the type.
yeah, exactly the type and the sim name and stuff from the symbols. So basically, if we can just, I think we just need this. I don't
Yeah,
know why we need current doc symbols, all of them. I don't think we need all of them. I think we just need to efficiently map from that position variable to the symbol in our sim table, and then we can grab these values and then produce them on the hover over. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, but before the hover, if you can, I mean, declaration stuff. I mean, because in the position we can like keep track what is the symbol
Mm-hmm.
from the position.
Mm-hmm.
So so in the position, I mean, we need from the position how to get the symbol. I
Right.
mean,
Exactly. And so he does that in
yeah,
this function, right? So this function goes from position to symbol with the Jack symbol type. So if you look at this function, what it looks like he's doing is he's iterating through all the symbols, which there's definitely better ways we can build that. But you could do this for now, right? Like you iterate through all the symbols, and then uh, if it's contained, so he grabs the symbol's range, and then the position,
yeah,
and then he just checks to see if your position is within
yeah.
that
I mean,
symbol.
yeah,
No,
yeah. I get this stuff, but I mean, from the Jacklang, I mean, how to get that thing?
the
I mean,
symbols.
from the Jack,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
symbol table.
Right, right. So the symbol table is just a dictionary of strings and symbols, right? And you can get it off of
Yeah,
any node. So every node is linked to its symbol table in the AST. So I'll show you more concretely. How can I show you this concretely? Easily. Absence tree. So you see this symbol table? After you get past the symbol table pass, build symbol table pass, this is populated. And this has a link to the symbol table for which that AST node is within. That's one way. That's one way you can get the symbol table. The symbols from Jack. You can get it from any node. If you get it from the module node, the symbol tables also is a tree, right? So let
yeah,
me show you.
yeah.
Yeah, and so if you get the module symbol table, you can see all of the children symbol tables.
Yeah, but from the, I mean, we will have the symbol table, and from the line number, is it easy to get, or
Yeah.
do we
So
have to introduce any new classes?
yeah, every symbol table, every AST node has a dot loc, and every symbol has an AST node, right? So
Yeah,
dot loc is code loc info, and it has like uh, its properties, right? It has the first line, last line, column start, column end. I actually use it here, right? So here in this implementation here, when we get the result, this is a pass, right? And then we have these
yeah,
errors. And then the errors, so for error in result had errors, I should do warnings too, but for error in result had errors, we're getting the error.log.first line. So error is an AS, well, loc is a code loc info. So alerts and AST nodes all have .loc. So wherever you have a .loc, it's gonna give you first line, column start, last line, column end. That's how you get it from the
yeah,
Jack world. So every symbol has AST nodes associated to the symbol, and every AST node has a location in the source file. Yeah,
yeah. Got it,
yeah,
got it,
yeah,
got it.
yeah. So
Yeah, but the thing is, let's say if I am moving the cursor from one symbol to another symbol, so every time it has to check to, I mean, string to pass, isn't?
every time it has a string to parse. No, 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 no.
No,
So
no, no, no.
yeah,
Only will if we
only if
this
you change
change
the
only
source
it
file.
will.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
change the file. And then we're gonna have different ways of compiling it all the way down, right? But only if you change the file or you do save, you have to
yeah,
run the analysis to get the symbol information. So, and it's going to run in the background, so it's going to be non-blocking. So you might have to wait like, a half a second, but then the hover overs are going to work, right? So yeah, man. Pretty cool, right? We're getting there. We're getting there.
I will, I will work. I will start with the
Yeah.
workspace.
Yeah, playing with that, and then I'll just let me know how that goes, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. All right, anyway, we'll talk soon, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, later. Yeah.